I don't like to do introductions when we're doing it in English. We just like to roll with it.
Yeah.
So I just hit record and we just take off and whatever. So it's better that way than be like, oh, here we go. No, fuck that, man. But anyways, here we have Mr. Ken in the house. What's going on, man?
What's up, dude?
How you doing?
Good.
It's been a while. You haven't been here. We updated a few little gadgets since the last time you were here.
I see that.
I hope you like what you see.
Looking good.
All right. So, Mr. Terry in the house, what's going on, man?
What's going on? What's going on, man? Big shout out to Truth Clothing. I gotta throw that out there right out the rip.
Hey, I want to apologize. I mean, people are not going to know this, but yeah, I was late.
Very late.
A Dominican guy late. It's not a weird thing. So, we were talking about during the week, last couple of weeks, we were talking about this whole transgender situation. It's a situation. Can we call it a situation or this? What would you call it?
I'd call it a pandemic.
I was gonna say an epidemic. I want to call it a pandemic, but epidemic. Yeah.
Epidemic. Yeah.
You, that's the beauty of having you here, Mr. Kenny, because you really dig into this stuff. You really learn, so you can explain it. I like the way you explain things. So I'll let you go ahead and shine. What's going on with these people, man? Talk to me.
Well, there's a whole. I mean, that's a broad kind of what's
Yeah.
going on with these people. But basically, transgender people suffer from gender dysphoria, which is a mental
Right.
condition, and basically they truly believe. People that are really transgender,
Mm-hmm.
they truly believe that they're a man in a woman's body or a woman in a man's body, and they truly
Right.
believe that. But it's a chemical imbalance or a mental
Mm-hmm.
thing going on, and one of the things that I would just say is that even the medical industry acknowledges that it is a mental illness.
Exactly.
But what they do with 99% of other mental illnesses is they try to correct the mental illness. Like if you are a psychopath and you're hearing voices in your head telling you that you should kill people,
Right.
they don't affirm that. They're not like, oh yeah, I hear those voices too. Yeah, maybe you should go kill people. No, they're like, whoa, something's wrong with you. Let's try and fix that however we can.
Right.
In this case, they're affirming it. They're instead of trying to correct it, they're trying to affirm it.
Right.
Where they're trying to encourage people to, oh yeah, you are a girl. You're a beautiful girl. Even though you're not, it's objectively incorrect to say
Yeah.
that somebody with male reproductive organs is
Right.
a female.
Yeah, the thing is, like, we don't want to invade their space. In my case, let it be. You want to feel like a woman? Feel
Right,
like a woman.
right.
That's your damn problem. I don't care how you feel like. Just don't force me to
Or-
change what I see visually, or to think of you as a woman. When I see you, you look like a guy. You look like a man. You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest thing with me. It's like they it's not that they want acceptance. They want to force you to do something that you are totally against it. That's fucked up.
I said this like last week.
Yeah, last time we were
talking
here.
about it. It's more so of like forcing your gender identity on somebody is almost becoming an equivalent to forcing your religion at this point.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's how I feel when I get it. I'm like, yo, like, oh, well, like you should believe in Jesus Christ. Well, you should believe that I'm a man, and I'm just like, I really don't care about either or.
Right.
I said this last week. It doesn't bother me until you involve children. That's where I'm like, absolutely not. Draw the line. Is when it comes to the children. Now these adults running around, parading around, man as a woman, woman as a man, Uncle Stephanie, Auntie George, whatever. You're an adult. You do whatever you want to do with your life.
Right.
It's just when they involve children is when I draw the line. I'm just like, all right, now listen, now we're doing too much.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The children is the big thing, especially when, you have these progressive type people or whatever. They go to college and they go to
Right.
these gender study classes and whatnot. But basically teaches them all these things. And actually, I have a list here of all the different pronouns and genders.
Pronounce a list.
And genders, yeah,
list.
it's huge. But anyways, so then they end up becoming teachers, kindergarten teachers, preschool teachers, first grade, second grade, all that stuff. And you'd say, oh, it's a conspiracy theory or whatever to think that these people are actually going into classrooms and talking to little kids about this.
Yeah.
if they weren't on TikTok and Instagram parading around saying how they're so excited, or when Florida passed a law about not talking about sexual things to kids.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They were so upset.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm gonna talk to them about me." And it's like, why? Why do you even need to do that? You're there to
Yeah.
teach them their ABCs, their 1, 2, 3s. Teach them that. They don't care about who you're going out on a date with later tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing about when they were talking about don't say gay law, which is
Which
fucked
had-
up how
didn't
they
even say-
twist it. It's
It
right.
had nothing to do with nothing.
It had nothing to do with that, but they grabbed this and they just twist it and they changed the name of the law just so they can make it look like it's anti-gay, like it's a homophobic law, which is not.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I'm one of the guys. I talked to him about this last time. Is like I'm one of the many people who are not see themselves as a Democrat anymore. I gotta say this because they're the ones pushing this whole bullshit. They're the ones they want to make everybody happy, and they want and they focus in on such a minority of people, and they forcing the majority of people to think differently just because it's a very small group of people, for Christ's sake.
Right.
It's very small, and they want to be. You got to be inclusive. So this is what you got to say. If you don't say that, then we're coming after you. That's the biggest thing that I have with this shit.
And that's the social stigmatization. It's kind of like with when we had the last talk last year when I was here about the mask and the jab.
Yeah.
If you didn't get it, you were socially stigmatized to the point where, oh, you don't care about other people, you're selfish, you're this and that. And I think I brought up some good points, which now, after all the paperwork and stuff's been coming out, a lot of that stuff has been proven to be true. And yet the people family members that, basically ostracized me, deleted me on Facebook, defriended me.
Really? It went that far, huh?
Remember I told you that.
Yeah, you mentioned something like that, but I didn't know it went that
But now
far.
with even Pfizer and Moderna coming out with reports and releasing the data and stuff like that, a lot of this stuff's becoming true. And now they're even doing, no, we're not talking about the jab, but they're doing studies now to see how many cases of myocarditis are linked to their product.
Yeah.
And but it's stigmatizing still to come out and say, "Oh, listen, a cloth mask isn't going to do anything.
Right.
The jab could be potentially harmful." And even when it comes out to be true, nobody turns around and says, "Hey, you know what? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was an asshole to you."
I just think we need to counter. Like, the counter for that should be we should treat people like people. And I think that'd be the perfect counter for that. Like, I don't care if you're gay, straight, trans. Like, I'm going to treat you like a person. And then that's gender neutral. That's how I think. I think that should be the perfect counter for that. It's like, hey, so listen, like, keep your sexuality to yourself because that's private anyway.
Right.
Exactly. It's supposed to be private.
You know, keep your sexuality to yourself because it's private. Keep it out of my child's life because they're children. They're not
Exactly.
even fully developed yet. And then, like, as an adult, I'm going to treat you as a person, whether you consider yourself a man or woman or one thing you said, you know what I mean, last week that I've been thinking about all week is like, yo, like, it's not necessarily them saying like, oh, well, I want you to treat me as a man, as a woman. I want you to identify.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I thought about that. I'm like, yo, he's absolutely right. Like, if you think about it, it's just like, yo, like, no one gave a fuck that you wanted to be a woman. No one gave a fuck that you wanted to be a man.
No.
You give a fuck that I give a fuck whether you
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like, wait a minute.
What I said, I don't know if you saw what we were talking about. What I said is like they're not going to be happy until they need your approval. So they can feel as a woman. So it's like, doesn't matter if they cut the penis off or they put a penis on. Yeah. Doesn't matter what they do. Doesn't matter what changes they make. If you do not accept it as how they accept themselves, then the whole thing that they're doing is pointless.
And that's,
you know what I'm saying?
I think that's because, which of course I'm making assumptions, but I think there could be a case made for the fact that these people do suffer from mental illness, and not just the gender dysphoria, but probably anxiety, things like that.
Right.
They're also very narcissistic and they have super fragile egos.
Yeah.
When you're narcissistic
Especially that.
and you have a super fragile ego, you're always looking for that attaboy pat on the back.
Exactly.
You're looking for that affirmation. And like you see people, there's a million of them on TikTok, whatever they'll talk
Oh my
about.
God, yeah.
Oh, I was at work today and I held the door for somebody and they said, "Thank you, sir." Oh, it made me feel so good inside.
It's so stupid.
cares?
Who
I
gives
paid
a
it.
shit?
I
Dude,
paid it forward at the toll
the
booth.
thing is,
Oh my God.
if you know something is true, and here's the thing: is they don't really believe that they are. Like they think they believe they're a woman,
Right.
talking about a man to a woman,
Right.
but they don't truly in their heart believe it.
Of course not.
100% true, and that's why when somebody doesn't affirm them, it affirms their own consistency with themselves.
Exactly.
Because-
that is correct.
Like if you were walking down the street or whatever and you held the door and somebody just accidentally said, "Oh, thanks, ma'am," like by accident or whatever,
Right.
you wouldn't be mad, would you?
No.
You'd be like, "Oh, haha, whatever."
Not at
Like
all.
I don't care.
Exactly.
You know why? Because he knows he's a man.
Exactly.
Like,
Like,
know what I
you
mean?
I don't have to prove it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I do not have to prove it. I'm gonna throw a wrench in this conversation because the one thing I don't think we covered last week that I definitely want to talk about this week is what do you think about transgender in sports right now?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
That's what we didn't cover last week. We did it.
That's
And
right.
I thought about it and I was like, what do you think about that in sports? Like,
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I'm super
I
biased.
personally think transgender should compete with other transgenders and call it a day since you want to create your own damn category.
I think that's how it's supposed to be because if you think about it, so many guys in the UFC beating the shit out of all these women.
Yo, why?
You know what I'm
Well,
saying? It's
here's
like
the thing
why
with-
they allow something like that. I don't get it.
When you're talking about this topic in particular, it's always about, or 90% of the time, about men competing in women's sports.
Yeah.
And I have to say I'm biased because listen, if a woman who's born a female, grew
Yep.
up being a female, and then decides to transition to a man, but still has the bone structure, density, mass,
Mm-hmm.
all the things of a woman, because you don't gain that stuff just because you're taking testosterone.
No.
Maybe a little bit, but not a lot. If women want to compete in men's sports,
Right.
have at it.
Of
Don't
course.
cry when you lose, but have at it. Because
Right.
honestly, they're not gonna. Maybe they can beat kids in high school and stuff like that, but when they
course,
get
yeah.
to the elite of the elite, they're not even gonna come close.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
okay with co-ed. Like,
They're not even.
create
Yeah.
a co-ed league. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? As
but-
opposed to just like letting this dude, like you said, we're letting dudes pounce on women all throughout sports. Swimming, MMA. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and now my thing is like, all right, so why not to combat that is create a co-ed league, and then with the co-ed league, it doesn't matter whether you transgender or not because
Right.
it's a co-ed league.
Right.
Like, I don't know why we haven't jumped on that yet. If not, I'm about to go home and be
There
like
was-
LLC.
there was a story about I was looking for this guy's name, but I couldn't find it. There was this guy who actually didn't tell anybody he was a guy. He was a man, and he was I think was in the UFC fighting all these women's, and then find out later that he was a man.
Wow.
After they physically abused, and I call it abuse because if you was a man, you're a UFC fighter, and you want to compete with women, and they're okay with it, then that's fine. She is the one that says, I'll take on it.
Yeah.
I'm going to fight this guy. But if you hide it, you didn't tell nobody.
Right.
That's some
Like,
serious
didn't
shit.
Ronda Rousey wanted to fight McGregor, didn't she at one point?
Yeah.
Well, we all know she was just jaw jacking.
I mean, it's,
she got destroyed right after that.
Jeez.
So, like,
so that's what I'm saying. It's like,
pretty sure she had some broken bones in her face too after
Yeah,
that
man.
fight. So I don't think she wanted to fight McGregor.
Nah, but it was still funny.
yeah.
Who was that? Did you hear about? There was that guy that over in the UK, he just to prove a point, because he was a bodybuilder.
Mm-hmm.
He went in, and like the only qualification over there to enter the women's was to identify as a woman. You didn't need any
Yeah.
history of hormones,
Nothing.
anything like that. So you just checked off. Yep, I think I'm a woman. He went in, crushed every record they had. I wish I had his name, but
Yeah.
he just did it, and then the next day, like, oh, I'm a man again. Like,
Exactly.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
It's like that.
This all, I swear to God, like I want to pull Bruce Jenner to the side and be like, "Did you know that this was going to happen because of what the stunt you pulled? You won Woman of the Year, and then now since then it's just been like,
Wasn't that messed up?
yo, when he won Woman of the Year, yeah, as Caitlyn, like, and
That's
after
so.
that
that's-
happened, it's just been like, yo, because I seen the movie Joanna Man. I don't know if you ever remember
Oh,
that
yeah,
movie.
yeah,
We all seen the
yeah,
movie
yeah.
Joanna Man. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? He identified as a woman, but we didn't take that seriously. Then like what? I don't know. I'm
that
just-
only proves one thing. This is tongue in cheek, but men are just better at being women than women.
I guess so.
I was saying that all the
Man,
time.
I'm better
like,
on
first of all,
everything.
No, that really is a slap in the face.
Woman
though.
of the
All
year is the man,
That's a
yeah.
slap in the face, just like the we'll probably talk about in New Hampshire. They,
Yeah, I wasn't gonna bring that up. Yeah,
Brian Nguyen or whatever.
Brian Nguyen. Yeah, he or she or whatever fuck it is.
Well, he's a he.
Yeah, it's a he. Okay,
Man.
but he didn't do it to prove a point though.
We talking about
no,
the
he is.
politician,
He's
right?
a transgender. No, it's a
No.
19-year-old transgender Korean, I think. I
Yeah.
think he's Korean. Yeah,
They won the some kind
it was
of
the
beauty
greater-
passion
it
or
was
something
the
like that in
greater
Hampshire.
Dairy of New Hampshire, Miss something.
Miss something.
But it was part.
Have
It
you
was,
seen him?
it was official Miss America competition. And
No.
it wasn't the Miss
My
America,
thing
but it was
is-
part.
It
of
was
the
part
Miss
of
America
it?
organization.
I'm gonna let my nerd out right here,
He's
and
the
I'm gonna let y'all know that the Chinese and Korean boys be dressing up as girls way before we started talking about this. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
they've been cosplaying as chicks from animes for like
Well,
hundreds of years now.
That is true, but
Yeah.
and there's a huge difference though between dressing up as a girl
Right.
and then telling people you are a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually maybe we'll probably get into it, but like drag queens. I think we're gonna bring up John Oliver's video there.
Oh
Kinda
yeah.
mentioned something about
Jesus
Drag
Christ.
queens. Drag queens are completely different than transgender.
Correct.
Drag queens
Are they?
Yeah, because
There are
drag
men
queen,
who dress
it's
up
a
as
man
women.
who knows he's a man
Hold
who
on,
has
hold on.
a sexual fetish of dressing up like in an acting.
a
part of
cross-dresser.
woman.
So it's okay for a guy to dress as a woman as a just self pleasure or something like that. Is that what it is?
You could
I'm
do
saying
whatever the
that's what-
hell you want
Yeah.
as an adult in America.
but not in front of kids, which they're
Well, I
doing
know
now.
that.
They're doing it in front of kids now. You
Oh,
see these
yeah.
drag shows on people
Yeah.
have phones, and there's literally like looks to me like 4 or 5-year-olds in the audience watching these grown men parade around as women,
Yeah.
and taking not all their clothes, but taking some of their
No,
clothes
no,
off and
exactly.
dancing
But
and
but
showing.
even the dance and all the stuff that they're doing is
It's all
kind of messed
sexual-
up.
It's all sexual in nature.
Exactly,
And to
yeah.
say it's not is
So I'm not gonna blame the draggers for that. I'm gonna blame that on the parents that brought their little ass kids to
absolutely,
the show.
but- Of course.
Oh, it's definitely on the
But a
parents.
lot, but a lot of this stuff, a lot of these kids in there, the parents are participating on the show.
Right.
Because have you seen the picture of the youngest trans model that is on? I forgot the name of it. We gotta
sure
find all these names, but
I'm sure I have.
the father of this boy, who's supposed to be a girl now, he is a pansexual, and then the mother is some other shit. I don't know what the hell it is. It's something else.
I was gonna say, like, are you talking
And then-
about
and
Jaden
now-
Smith?
And now,
'Cause
and
Jaden
now
Smith
they
is-
they bring in this kid who now is mad famous. They're making a lot of money out of him because he's a supermodel now because he's trans.
Oh, y'all,
The kid is like 7 or 9 years old.
you almost had me thinking you was talking about Dwayne Wade's kid, because Dwayne Wade's kid is another.
That was
case.
some shit that I just
Yeah.
learned yesterday.
Yeah, Dwayne Wade's kid is another kid who they were all like at one point about to let him have the surgery to become a woman, or to become a girl at this point. Not even a woman, a girl.
Right.
Because like I think his son's like 9 to 11, somewhere in that area. Like, I don't know.
What the fuck?
And yeah, and Dwayne Wade was open to his son getting the surgery to become a girl.
So what?
Instead of
Did they not get it, or
I don't think they got it. I
But
think
would it have been-
social media put a wrench in that.
would it have been? Would he have been able to get it if his parents allowed it?
Correct.
Of course, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bottom or top, or how's it?
All of the above.
Yep.
Like the full, like, and you're like, well, you got to think about it. We talking Dwayne Wade money.
Right.
We talking
But
about NBA champion.
There was
money.
a article in the New York Times the other day about I think it was Ohio, maybe a woman in Ohio. Her 10-year-old son went to the nurse's office at school because he wanted some gel or lubrication for his tattoo that he had just gotten. 10-year-old. The nurse
Whoa,
called
whoa.
a 10-year-old.
A tattoo, a real
A
tattoo.
real tattoo. A 10-year-old got a real tattoo, and he wanted some ointment or whatever for it. So he goes to the nurse. Nurse. Now, of course, we can all agree that a 10-year-old making life-altering decisions that are permanent is probably not a good idea.
Of course not.
So the nurse calls the police and whatever, and they end up arresting the mom and filing charges and whatnot. And she said, yeah, she gave her neighbor permission to tattoo her son. But the whole point of it is that this 10-year-old made a life-altering decision that her
Right.
mom encouraged or allowed,
Right.
and shame on her.
Yep.
But at the same time, 9 and 10-year-olds can make life-altering decisions on cutting off their genitalia, or you know what I mean?
Correct.
That's
That
is that the nature of our society right now? It's kind of
I was talking to a friend of mine this weekend, Saturday actually. He's one of those guys who likes to live. He loves to live in the woods, far away from everybody, and he's always away from any news. And I tell him about what's going on in California, for example, where they 11-year-olds are getting their penis cut off and girls are getting their chests just freaking amputated just because they don't feel like they belong to their bodies. And he was like, "Are you for real?" I was like, "Yeah." I won't tell you to look it up because that's going to just make you sick if you start reading about it, because he was really disturbed about it. It's like, I can't believe there's parents out there who's going to allow their 11-year-old kid who take like puberty blockers. Because that's another thing. Puberty blockers is something that, who the fuck creates these things? It's got to be some creation from the freaking devil. It doesn't make any sense why anybody's going to spend years in college and become a scientist or whatever the hell this guy is, and then be like, hey, I want to make a pill that's going to block your puberty. For what? For who?
Financial gain.
It's like, I don't
well,
get it.
That's a huge thing right there. Is financial gain.
Financial gain.
And the thing is
Enzo?
the pharmaceutical industry right now, and I think we talked about this last time.
Yeah, we did.
always looking for ways to sell more of their product.
more money.
They always are.
Yeah.
I think I haven't really looked this up, but I think puberty blockers originally were created for, like, there are rare cases of like 4 to 5-year-olds that are starting to like see puberty, and it's a little too young, so they'd give them this. It would delay it for a few years, then they'd take them off, and they'd go through puberty in their 12 to 13 years. They also use, I think, puberty blockers for pedophiles to reduce their sexual drive.
Correct.
To make
Really?
them less, make them want to, I guess, have sex less, which would reduce their wanting to, be a pedophile or whatever.
Right.
But those cases are far and few between. So the drug isn't being sold that much.
So,
But now,
go ahead.
with the puberty blockers and the mass, psychosis of all
Oh, go ahead.
the people that are turning trans now, all of a sudden,
This is the magic pill.
now
now.
they're selling a lot of puberty blockers, and
Right.
they're saying, like John Oliver said,
That's what I was going to ask you about.
reversible.
That's what I was going to ask you
They're
about.
not
Do you think that's the reason why he mentioned it? Because, like you say, if a boy or girl is having their puberty early, which is a weird case, right?
Yeah.
They use puberty blockers, and then they can stop it, and their puberty continue. Do you think that that's what John Oliver was talking about?
No, I don't. I think he was talking about 12 or 13-year-old kids who have been socially conditioned to believe that they're the opposite sex, maybe because of their social preferences, things that they like to do. Maybe somebody likes the color pink, or maybe a girl likes to work on cars, and then they're socially conditioned from a young age to think that they're the opposite sex. And then when puberty starts hitting in, they get scared, and instead of I think they should let puberty take its course, because
Right.
that would actually affirm their true identity, their true sex.
Right.
Because once you go through puberty and you get all of that estrogen, you get all of that testosterone, you're going to feel more like a man or more like a woman than
Exactly.
you did when you were a kid. Because 12-year-old kids are confused anyways.
And then you can make a
And
decision.
without the social conditioning from teachers and parents and other peers and things like that, it makes it all a mess. So anyways, they're giving these kids the puberty blockers to stop the puberty, which is not reversible, especially if you start taking puberty blockers at 12 and you use them for a few years. Puberty, actually, I sent you an article if you want to, from talking about the New York Times article, and they were talking about puberty blockers and how they decrease the growth of bone density, bone mass, and things like that, because during puberty, that's when your bones are growing the most,
Right.
and the strength and all that stuff. And if you're taking the puberty blockers, it's inhibiting the ability for your body to do what it's supposed to do. So even if you take puberty blockers for a few years and then you stop, if you stop when you're 18, your body's not just going to be like, oh, I'm going through puberty now.
Exactly,
No, you can't just put a pause button on the human body and say, no, you already skipped that.
Yeah, that was so stupid.
And
when
then
you
they're
say
finding that those people are now suffering from, like, whatever basically where you can like break a leg, like
Right,
superposes
right.
and stuff like that. Is
Yeah.
it osteoporosis? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Thank you. In their like late 40s, early 50s instead of like late 60s, early 70s. for
Right.
these people. And besides that, though, there is no long-term studies on massive injections of puberty blockers. So when even if somebody says they're reversible, they
Yeah.
really don't even have the data to back up what they're saying.
No.
Yeah, because what they do
we
right-
haven't been taking them longer. Like
Right,
it hasn't been
exactly.
long
Yeah.
enough for some. Like no
So
one
you know
has
they're lying to
taken
you.
puberty blockers and lived a full life for you to study.
Right.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
mentioned that last time we were here, and yeah, it makes total sense. I
Yeah.
mean, they just trying all these things in our kids. Well, not our kids, because I don't think my kids will come up with that kind of shit. But they're trying these things on these kids just to see what's the long term effect. In the meantime, they're making a lot of money, which that's what they want anyways. They don't give a crap about what's gonna happen with these guys when they turn 30, 40 years old.
I think.
Besides, a lot of them are suicide. They're killing themselves because they
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. They made a decision, and then like Casey Miller. Do you look into it? I show you the picture of
yeah,
her.
I've seen him before. Or her before.
Yeah, it's amazing how this girl made a decision of go through all these puberty blockers and testosterons and all these things, and then now that she regret it, which is too late now. Their own community is jumping, like all the trans community. They want to kill her. I mean, you see video after video just talking trash about her because he's coming out and say,
Which just shows you
"Don't
how
do this."
inclusive they really are.
Correct.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
They're inclusive as long as you agree with them.
As long as
Exactly.
you, I was
Not
just gonna
just
say, as
them.
long as you
Anybody
agree
in
with them.
that woke ideology. They're inclusive as long as you agree with them.
So if
As
you
soon as
think
don't.
about what they're really doing with the puberty blockers is what you're doing is you're stopping, like you said, the natural growth of testosterone and estrogen, and then they're creating a window, and in that window you can now convince a child on whether they can become a man or a woman, because now those puberty blockers you can change and go either direction. And so like now you can go, now that everything is slowed and possibly stopped. Like I can now then alter my life from that point to push it in the narrative direction that I want to go. And the narrative, and I always think about this, and I think about like all the movies and like all the shows we watched as kids with the mom who wished that their son was actually a daughter.
Oh,
so
yeah.
she dressed him up. Like we watched all those movies
Yeah.
as a kid, or you know what I mean, had the daughter and wished, dad wished he had a son. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So now that she's under the hood of the car and what I think everyone is not understanding is how easy it is to influence a child.
Yeah.
And like I think that's what everybody's ignoring. And I don't like that. Like that's what I don't like about the transgender community.
But that's what they're doing, though. They know, they're smart enough to know that, because that's what I was telling my friend on Saturday. They're not coming out for you. They're not coming after you. They're not coming after me.
No.
We already know enough to say, screw that. I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're coming for our kids because they're still young. They're still innocent.
Mm-hmm.
So now if you start brainwashing them early enough, by the time they're like 15, 16, or even before that, they can start convince themselves that, maybe I'm actually a girl.
Yep.
And next thing you know, they make all these horrible decisions, and then what? Nothing you can do about it.
And I'm glad you said that too, because like I don't think a lot of people have been paying attention to that. Like
No.
he's absolutely right. We're not the target. Us adults
Hell no.
aren't the
They don't
target.
care about us.
It's our children.
They don't care about us. If any of us decide tomorrow, I want to be a woman, that's like you made this decision based upon.
Dude, I got experience.
Well, exactly. You got experience, right?
Experience, yeah.
But kids, they're not letting these kids to make their own decisions.
No.
As they start, once they go like 5, 6 years, 7 years old, they start putting this on their heads.
Dude, it's like it's the
Maybe
same-
you're a girl. Maybe you do this. Maybe
the
you
same
like
concept
pink.
of-
Maybe you're a girl. You like playing with dolls. Maybe you're a girl.
Same concept
You know what
with
I'm saying?
Islam and like Christianity, man. Like if
Yeah.
if you catch them young, that's it.
Oh yeah.
That's it. Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, like
Think about how easy it is to manipulate a child. Right?
Yeah.
If the kid's being annoying and yelling, like, hey, let's play a game. We're gonna play the quiet game. Let's see who can be quiet the longest. Ready, go.
Boom.
And
There you go.
They'll shut up, and they're
Let's play hide and seek.
They believe in Santa.
You
Yeah, we'll
get
play
the hell
hide
out
and
my
seek. You go
face.
hide, I'll find you. And then you
Yeah,
just show
freaking
up
5
like,
hours later, the kid's still waiting for you. Oh man, that's so.
I love that
that's
you don't
brutal.
find up Santa Claus.
I don't have kids, but I
Yeah.
can't.
Santa Claus.
I can't even keep a plan.
The Easter
alive.
Bunny.
Yeah.
The Tooth Fairy. Like, we could do this
Oh,
all
Santa
day
Claus.
long.
Yeah, exactly. No, Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, all that stuff. And
Yeah.
now you're going to, like you said, manipulate kids into. It's so easy. Be like, oh, you're playing with a Barbie doll. Oh, you sure you're not a girl?
Exactly. Yeah.
They don't even know what that means. All they know is they think Barbie dolls are associated with girls.
Yep.
They think a dress, even though other cultures wear kilts and stuff.
Yeah.
They think a dress is associated with a girl. So then they're like, well, I like those things, so maybe I am a girl. But
Yeah.
they don't even know what it really means to be a girl.
No.
They just know what it means to associate certain activities with
With
being a
exactly
girl.
with females.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So it's totally.
Like,
totally
I seen a
different.
picture of a guy, and then his son wanted to be Elsa from Frozen. And, so what he did was he dressed up as Elsa from Frozen or whatever.
Ain't that messed up?
But you know what's the crazy part? It wasn't messed up. You know what? They showed the video of that. But the father made sure that his son understood. Like, hey, you're a boy, but if you want to dress up as Elsa, we could dress up as Elsa. But
Oh
guess
yeah,
what?
okay.
I don't
You
think
are
I don't think I'll go that route.
I
think that's like my thing is I think
that's better than.
I think educating a child and the
Right.
decision that they are making is the route to go versus saying, hey, listen, this is what exists in the adult world. You should
Right.
think about whether you want to be a part of this in the adult world.
I mean, I mean, if my son comes out with that, I'm not gonna grab him by his shoulders and shake him. No, but I will not dress myself as hell no. I'll put him on the side and be like, no, you're not. And I tell you why.
Like, yeah, no.
And I break it down. This is why. It's because of this. I believe and I think this and that. And you explain it, you break it down. But to the point of dress up and be like, okay, hell no.
I think though, at the end of the day, it's always important that you, like you said, explain to the kid what's
Right.
going on. Like
Verbally, but not like dressing up.
No, but I'm
Hell
saying
no.
explain. Listen, hey,
Yeah.
you might like these things, you might find them fun, but it doesn't make you a girl. And kids need an adult to tell them that. I think
Of course.
that's Parroting.
Yeah.
I think Matt Walsh said that.
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't. If you play along, you want to be Elsa, and then maybe you're a girl, and then you start putting these things in the kid's head, then they have no hope.
I just I think another thing that strikes us too is the two-parent household isn't common anymore.
Right.
No.
And the minority community. So now, and even if you have a two-parent household, how often do you see your parents? Mom works 9 to 5, dad works 3 to 11.
Yeah.
And then you're at school from 8 to 2 to 8 to 4, and then which parent are you gonna see when you come home? Mom or dad for a little bit? You get a weekend, one of the days out of the weekend where you actually see both of them for 4 hours at a time. And I think because of that, that's a big thing that made our children an easy mark.
Yeah.
For not even just transgender community, just for anything.
On everything. Yeah.
On
because-
everything.
absolutely.
Our children are literally at risk right now.
There's
because
right
we're
here.
not there.
Yeah, the phone and
Any
when they
kids
see
with
the-
a phone.
Yep.
I mean, I have a bunch of kids myself. Everybody that knows me knows I have a bunch of kids. And my son, he's 12. He has a phone and he has TikTok. Sometimes I go to TikTok just to see some stuff and whatever. And most of the stuff that comes out is naked women in there.
Yeah.
So right away I'm thinking like, what the hell? Because this is the stuff that my son is obviously subjected to
Right.
every time he opens TikTok. Now, I can make and erase that. I can be like, hey, erase that application and get rid of that. But I'm sure there's going to be another app.
There's gonna be another app.
And this is already in his brain. I'm not saying don't do anything.
Or they got the hidden apps too.
Exactly. And I'm not saying...
Incognito mode, baby.
That's right. I'm not saying don't do anything, but at the same time, you have to understand that doesn't matter how hard you try, they're always going to find a way to get to that thing that they saw that give you some emotions,
Every parent or everybody who wants to be a parent should watch the Jeffrey Dahmer series on that.
Oh,
They
yeah.
should. You want to know
That
why?
was good.
Because Jeffrey Dahmer
Yeah.
is an example of two parents who didn't need to have children.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was a combination of this is what can happen to your child, and this is who your child can
Yeah.
become if you are not monitoring your child correctly.
Yeah.
Is that the both? There's a documentary and the docuseries.
Yeah, there's a documentary and a
Yeah.
docuseries. Hulu has the
documentary, yeah.
and then Netflix has the
has the-
docuseries.
Yeah.
Yeah, but essentially with Jeffrey Dahmer, like, and I tell people all the time, I'm like, his sexuality and how he explored his sexuality was because nobody sat him down and
Right.
explained to him what his
Yeah.
sexuality was.
He was
And like at
Yeah,
no
he was
point,
really freaking confused.
Like,
he was
thought-
confused.
he thought that eating the people would make them stay with him longer. Or
Yeah, he
something.
would stay
Some
with
kinda
him.
Weird.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why he said
Yeah.
he ate him, like to kind of.
yeah. And then
He
it
also
was-
said
and you
black.
know what-
He also said black people taste better. How about that?
And you know what blew
Is
my
that
mind?
true?
Because he had the little Filipino kid first. You know what I mean? It's the sodium. It's
You
the
really
sodium.
say that. You
Well,
really
you gotta
say
think
that.
about it. Black people have more sodium, like, intake. And so, like, you know, we pre-seasoned. That's all. But no, but like when like the guy in the prison, when the guy in the prison explained to him about God and what he should do, Jeffrey Dahmer literally was like, "Oh,
Yeah, and then he went.
Oh,
and got, yeah, he got saved and got baptized.
all right, cool. Well, shit, nobody told me. Oops."
Oh,
And
wow.
I literally, that scene blew my mind. The fact that all it took was one person to be like, "Yo, dude, you're not supposed to do dumb shit like that," and then he was like, "Huh?
Yeah,
Oh,
Really?
What?" And then he was like, "Here's a Bible." He was like, "Oh, well, fuck."
yeah. He started reading it. Yeah, it
Whoops.
was,
He went and got saved and everything. He became a better person immediately.
yeah.
Immediately. He immediately was like, "Oh shit, oh my
I
bad."
shouldn't. Yeah,
Like,
if
dang.
somebody would have say something.
And like he was like empathetic to his victims. Like none of his victims. I tell people all the time, 16 of 17 of his victims didn't feel pain.
Right.
He removed they pain sensory. So like when he was cutting them up, like
Yeah.
they were watching, but like they couldn't feel it.
Damn.
Or yeah, in that, or they were already dead.
Or
Yeah,
they were already
right.
dead. So it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At that point, like who wants to go to jail? You know what I mean? Like, what I got to do with him? Like, you know? And his
Holy
dad taught him that one. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, and like, you knew this kid was weird from the beginning.
Oh yeah.
And like, his dad knew from the beginning. But because his dad didn't have, you know,
He
the
wasn't
mental
smart enough to
patience-
explain.
It
Yeah.
wasn't even that he was smart enough. He
Yeah.
just didn't. He didn't have the patience all the time because at one point he lost custody of all his kids to the mom, and the mom decided to take one kid and left Jeffrey Dahmer
Right. Home Alone.
home
Yeah.
alone
For
during
months.
his puberty
For
stage.
months.
Holy
During his
shit.
puberty stage, and that's when he was starting to get those, you know, like, oh, well, like,
What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and,
you,
and that's
just
why.
getting drunk and working out every day. Like,
and this is how I'm gonna tie that into like the TikTok thing. We're talking about TikTok.
Yeah.
The first thing that Jeffrey Dahmer seen that aroused him sexually was a mannequin.
oh, yep.
He seen the mannequin and was like, "Ooh, you know, like
What is
got a
it?
little, ooh, you know." And it's the same thing with TikTok. So like we were letting our kids are going unsupervised, and they're going like, "Oh, well, hey,
What is this? Yeah,
what
I
is
want
this?"
more of that.
Like,
Yeah.
oh,
yeah,
you know, and like because we're not explaining to them and we're not teaching them adequately.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now you have all these children who are like, okay, so maybe you know I'm attracted to girls, or maybe I'm attracted to boys, and like
Yeah.
they don't know because no one's teaching them.
Right.
And then the school is doing a horrible at the freaking a terrible job doing that because
Now
if
let's
you,
connect that.
this
to
this is what they're doing. They actually making your kid more confused.
right. And now let's connect that to what the transgender motive is right
Yeah.
now. And you think in your head like, yo, this is perfect. As a transgender, like literally, if you really think about it, this was a perfect way to attack children because now we have children who are broken homes,
Yep.
the minority, like you know what I mean, the minority set, broken homes. And then when we have a school system who hasn't decided how to teach schools about sexuality, and then now you take that transgender narrative and you slide it right in there.
Oh yeah.
Because guess what? It doesn't exist for either or. So now, hey, here's this narrative that you can slide right in there. It slid right under our nose.
Yeah, and they have programs. They have I told you about the name of the program. Jesus Christ, I'm forgetting everything. But there's a program they have in public schools right now that is supposed to be to help your kid to get to college, and it's a beautiful program. The whole point of that program is to help your kid to actually go to college, and they're teaching you everything that he needs to know to get to college. But what they did is they squeezed some stuff in there about gays,
Oh, they always
trans.
They always squeeze something in there.
They squeezed it in there. So when I got the information, right, when I was looking at this thing for my son, I went to the school. I was like, what's going on with this? Who's approving this? Oh, the school district is. If you have any questions, you got to call them. And the lady at the school gave me the sense, is like, my hands are tied. There's nothing I can do. They send this material, we have to put it out there. And this is stuff about trans, and this is stuff about, and it's all going to confuse the kids. So I called the school district. I never got any answer. I left a message. Then they called me back.
Did I send you that Did I send you a couple screenshots of that book?
You did.
The book that I purchased.
Yeah.
It was My Body is Growing, a guide
Yeah.
for 4 to 8 year olds. Okay, so I saw this on Twitter. Somebody posted, they're like, oh, they posted a picture of the cover, and they posted a picture of a page in the book, and it was like, My Body is Growing, a guide for 4 to 8 year olds, and then they showed a page in the book, and the page was super graphic. I'm not going to go into it. Basically, it was like
Yeah.
talking in little kid terms. Little Johnny likes, blah blah blah, and then his sister Maria and her boyfriend this, and they
Yep.
sleep together and they kiss each other everywhere. On the cheeks, on the belly,
Yeah.
sometimes on the bum and in between the leg. Yeah, it started going. It started getting really graphic.
I did talk
And
about
so-
that book here before.
So below in the thread, people were like, "Oh, that's fake." Blah blah blah. You can't just believe everything you see. So I said, "You know what? You're absolutely right." And that's what I always do. If I see somebody doing a video or anything I see, even if I agree with it,
Right.
let me look that up. Which is why I actually downloaded this application, which maybe we could talk about.
Yeah,
But
sure.
anyway, so I went on and I purchased the book.
You did.
I went on iTunes or iBooks or whatever. I
Mhm.
looked for the book, real book. It was like fucking $10 or something. Purchased it and I read the whole thing. And the whole thing, I eventually did get to the page that was talking about that. And it's 4 to 8 year olds should not be reading that page. But even some of the other stuff, there was little innuendos and stuff.
Yeah,
about
yeah,
how
yeah.
Your parents need to show you respect, and you should be able to close your door, and your parents don't have a right without knocking.
Right.
Going your room. Like little stuff to kind of like put your parents on the side and make you the
Exactly.
boss. The whole book was messed up, but yeah, there was a few pages in there, and especially the one that I sent you,
Yeah.
where it like went above and beyond.
Yeah.
And you're just like, why would that even be a kid's book?
Yeah, I
You know
did.
what I mean?
Yeah, I did talk about that here in Spanish on After the Video podcast on the Spanish podcast that I have. And the thing that bothers me about this is we as Latinos, we don't pay attention to that. I'm not saying because that video didn't catch a lot of views. It's that we as Latinos, we don't care about these things until we get the situation in our home. I know so many parents that they have kids like 10, 11 years old and they say they're gay. How do you know? You know what I'm saying? So it's like they don't pay attention to all the signs. They don't pay attention to what's going on, and then their son or daughter just come up with that. Boom. Oh, I'm gay. What do you mean? Well, you should have paid attention to see all the signs.
Yeah.
You should have seen what's going on in the school. You should have seen what stuff they're watching. You know what I'm saying?
There's a guy that I work with where his nephew, who's I think 11 or 12,
Yep.
I think he said 11 or 12, where he's convinced that he's gay, probably from external forces, teachers, whatever.
Right, right.
Because he likes to hang out with boys. It's like, well, isn't that what 12-year-old boys do? I used to only
Yeah.
hang out with boys.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Shoot
Yeah,
each other with BB guns, do the whole, we do
Exactly.
whatever, you know what I mean?
exactly.
But he thinks because he only likes hanging out with boys because he's interested in what boys like or boys are interested in,
Right.
that he's gay. And so you know what I mean? And he's like, dude, just wait a couple years because
Exactly.
you're still gonna like to hang out with boys, but you're gonna really like to
tell you,
hang out with females.
I didn't start even like looking at women sexually until I was like 17 and a half
Yeah, me
years
too.
old. You know what I mean? 17, 18.
Yeah.
Like my thing was women were a waste of time. Where my Yu-Gi-Oh cards at? Where my Pokemon cards at?
Yeah.
Like,
Come on,
you know what I mean?
magic,
Like,
man. You gotta play magic.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, yo, I don't have a memory card, so how can I keep my PlayStation 1 running without my mama finding out? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah,
you know?
back home, we like going in the woods, killing birds,
Yeah.
going to the river, to the lake, and that was our thing.
So
we
my thing was,
didn't.
like, and I think about it now, and I like some of the stuff that like we're talking about today was like, yo, things that I would have never even gave a fuck about. You know what I mean? Like I'm thinking about like how I'm gonna do better at spades at lunchtime, or like, yo, are we gonna have a square pizza this time, or are we gonna have the meatball subs for lunch?
But now,
You know what I mean? But now,
Not now.
and it's like, what are we doing? Like,
not now.
like,
I think a lot of people though would say, they'll be like, well, what's the matter? What's the point? Why does it matter? Let people be who they are. They're not hurting anybody.
Of course not.
But an individual person. I used to work with people that were trans,
Mm-hmm.
and I was respectful. You know what I mean? I didn't agree with them, but I was respectful. I didn't go out of my way to like misgender them to make.
Of
points
course
or
not.
anything. Once in a while, by accident, it would happen, but I would just basically refer to the person as their name because I'm not gonna lie and call you a girl if you're not a girl.
Right.
That's an objective truth. But I would just, if you said you were a girl, I would just say, "Hey, Emilio, can you do this or do that or whatever."
Not only that is you don't know how they feel that day.
Right? Yeah, because that
Yeah,
can change too.
yeah.
Exactly. That can change like in 24 hours.
But I think
You know?
the problem is not only with attacking the kids, is it does actually affect us as adults as well when you start talking about freedom of speech. Now, right now in America, there is, I don't think, any laws that prohibit you to call somebody what you want.
No, but
if
you get in
look
trouble
to-
though.
If you look to, well, it's social.
You get in trouble.
stigmatized.
You get in
You
trouble
get-
if you got a business.
It's
Right, right.
stigmatizing and stuff like that. Yeah, and they can cancel you and they can.
Oh
do
yeah, if
all
you
this
like
other-
this thing,
But right now, there's no legal.
yeah, this thing.
repercussions.
Oh no, not
But in
yet.
Canada, there is.
Oh yeah, in Canada,
Canada, it's
you get in
considered-
trouble.
It's
Yeah.
considered an act of violence to
Yep.
misgender somebody.
So here's my thing.
So that's the problem.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. Like, I would love to go to Canada and misgender somebody so I can sit in trial. So I'll volunteer as tribute. I want to look a judge right in the face and you tell me, look at this nigga. Look at him. Oh, did I just break the law again? Like, bruh. Like, here's my thing. Like, you shouldn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? I can fuck 10 bitches this week.
Right.
And you can call me gay. And guess what?
I don't
I'm
care.
alive.
Yeah.
Whatever. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I can fuck 10 dudes this week.
Yeah.
And you can call me gay. Guess what? And nigga, like, it don't make sense. Like the that's the part that blows my goddamn mind. Yo, if you want to be a chick, yo, be a chick. Bold.
Be a chick.
Be bold about it.
Yeah, that's
Fuck
right.
it. Guess what? You a chick, not me.
Right.
Not me. I don't have to.
But don't
you don't
force
know what
me.
I do through when I
Right.
go through. I don't care what you go through
Right.
because this is your life. This is your decisions. This is your bubble. This is your rotation of planets. Like, you know what I mean? We orbit. Like I tell people all the time. People orbit around you
Right.
in life. And life, as how I treat my life, is people orbit around me. You know what I mean?
I like
this,
that.
This within
I'm
arms,
gonna use that.
within arm span of me is my gravitational pull. That's it. If you within arm reach of me, goddammit, you in my space.
Right.
You in my orbit. And once you get within that space, then whatever happens in my orbit, you are subjected to. That's it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Definitely in his orbit right now.
Right.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I mean?
yeah, you them
That's
rich.
it. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. You know what I mean? And like, he has no, and like, if that's what you want to do, be proud of what you are and be happy for what you
Right.
are. Go home and look yourself in the mirror and be okay with who you are in the mirror. But don't go and bring your mirror to me, goddamn it, and like, look at this, goddamn,
Right.
look at
That's a
this.
good point.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's it. And I feel like the transgender community is just absolutely fucking childish right now. Childish. You know,
because-
absolutely childish. Like, you're really going this fucking far to prove a point
Yep.
that no one gives a shit about.
It's definitely the narcissism. It's the narcissism.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
one
is.
gives a
Legals,
shit.
because so here's a really quick example.
Gay people have been
Was-
people have been doing weird shit since the Trojan War.
Yeah.
At my last job, I was the basically the lead manager, and then the boss's son was there as well. So me and him kind of ran things, and there was a lot of teenage people that worked there. A lot of
Right.
them teenage girls, but there was a transgender in the kitchen or whatever. So, anyways, we would always with the teenage girl stuff, we use the word bro all the time.
Yeah.
Like, hey, bro, can you fill this? Hey, bro, can you do that? Talking to the teenage girls. And I'm like, oh, no problem, man. And they would just do it.
Right.
They never cared. They never had a problem with us calling them bro at all. None of the little teenage girls that work there.
Right.
But then if you go in the kitchen, the transgender person, hey, bro, can you? I'm not a bro. Blah. It's like, well, I thought you wanted to be treated like all the other,
Exactly.
Females
You want to
that
be
are here,
inclusive.
which this is how we're, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's just a fragile, narcissistic
Yeah.
ego
Yeah.
that it's impossible to fully affirm and to fully, you know what I mean?
Here's a
They're never
perfect-
happy.
I got a perfect example for that, and this is exactly why I'm here. On behalf of the black community, everybody's a nigga. You white, nigga. You black, nigga. Hispanic, nigga. Male, nigga. Female, nigga. Mom, nigga. Dad, nigga. You talking my grandma, my nigga. Like, you know what I mean? So, like that's exactly
Everybody.
what it means.
But only-
No. In
Yeah.
Florida, everybody's dude.
Yeah.
And his work, bro.
Right,
Yeah.
Bro. And then, like, for you to say that, dude, makes me so mad because I had some people come to me like, don't call me a nigga. I'm not a nigga. And I'm like,
geez.
bro, everybody's a nigga, bro. What's that?
Yeah,
Nothing you
who
can do
cares?
about it. You know what I mean? And I'm
Exactly.
like, And I'm like thinking about that argument. I'm like, yo, it's like every 10 fucking years we pick a new battle to face.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
We pick
The
a new
whole
battle.
point. The whole point is just keep us divided. That's all.
Fuck
it
it.
is.
Like, hey,
Yeah.
yo, these niggas fight. Yo, dude, these niggas cool with the Mexicans now. That's all shit.
Yeah.
Man. Let's make them fight
That's
with
the
the
whole
transgender.
Now,
like, wait, what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
totally off topic, but what if, so like, we were hanging out all the time, we're like, doing this every time, and then you kept calling me that, and then I just in conversation was like, hey, what up, ma? And I said that. Would that be bad?
results may vary.
If it was like, no, I'm just asking.
No,
Like,
that's the answer. That's 100% the answer. Results
Yeah.
may vary. You know what I mean?
If
Because
it
you'll
was-
get somebody that's like, whatever. Yeah, you're right. I would acknowledge that I say it so much around you that, like, yo, maybe it slipped. You know what I
because
mean?
Right,
sometimes
right.
people, there's a lot, there are a lot of people that are, they're influenced by their surroundings. So
Exactly.
a lot of times,
I
if you
watched
put
two-
somebody in a situation,
Yeah.
they're gonna start mimicking what other people say.
Yeah, that happens.
And then,
Like,
so if something being said all the time, they may be like, oh, maybe I like even subconsciously.
oh yeah.
They're gonna say that.
No,
You-
know
you
what I
listen.
To your point. No, to your point. This story right here. To your point. I watched the white guy say nigga and then watch two black people get beat up for trying to check him for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. By other black people.
Yeah, but it's like you
You know
go
what I
to
mean?
you go to Lawrence, it's the same thing. You see all these Dominicans in Lawrence, nigga this, nigga that, nigga that, nigga. And
I'm
to
like,
me,
y'all island boys.
exactly.
Like, y'all
So,
island boys. Wait, what?
I mean, it's not a word that I
Yeah,
use. It's not a word that I use. I can use it. I'm sure there would be no problem with that. But when every other word that comes out of your mouth is nigga this,
Right.
nigga that, it's like stop it.
There's people that they drop the F
It's
bomb.
exactly. It's
They
like,
drop the F
I'm gonna
bomb.
be-
Exactly.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna be real with you. Like if we went back home with me right now and we went back and we were just chilling, yo, you'd hit nigga like 15 times. Like it's that's it. Like
right.
like I grew up in Chicago, west side of Chicago, right? You know what I mean? Right, Holy City. So like
Yeah.
for me, like hearing y'all say that, but like here's the thing. That's why I said like when you ask me like what would you do, I always say results may vary. You know what I mean?
It all
Because
depends who's around.
it's
That's
not
all
even
it is.
as who's around, it's who you are. Like, yeah, some people that like yo, if you can throw hands and you can fight, then you can say whatever the hell you want.
Right.
That's my thing. That's what I mean by that when I say results may vary. It has nothing to do with you whether you're white or not. It's because you knocked me the fuck out and then say I said nigga, and that's it. Then you can say nigga as many times as you want at that point. Are you
Right.
gonna bust out a Desert Eagle? Are you gonna bust out a 45 and be like nigga what? That's why I say results may vary. That's it.
Yeah.
Like it's just at the end of the day, it's just a word. It's just a word. I can create another word right now, and I can call you that, and you know that I mean ill intent, and you'll be pissed off by it.
Yeah, you're right. No.
Right.
You'll be
ill
pissed
intent,
off by
but
it.
if,
I'd be like,
Yeah.
you fucking dick.
that was what I was saying. Is if there was no,
And they be like, why this nigga call me a dick?
If there was no- if there was no ill
time,
intent,
you know what I
bro.
mean? Like, no, I
that's
get
where
it.
I was going. If there was
No,
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 if there
you're
was
absolutely
no
right.
intent. It was just like by accident. or
No,
something,
but
you
you're
know?
absolutely right. But no,
And that's the same thing. That's the same thing that I mean, it's not the same thing, but with this whole, I told you a story about the store that I went to buy some stuff.
Mhm.
So you don't even know what these people are today or tomorrow. I went to buy some equipment at the store, and there was this dude that looks with lipstick and makeup and things like that, but it was a guy. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you come up and call him what do you call it? Pronounce or whatever? If you
Pronoun.
pronouns incorrectly, you know what I'm saying? Then you get subject to get beat up depending on how mad these people get. You know what I'm saying? So the way that he addressed it, like calling people by their name, I think that's the best way to do it because you don't even know what. But again, you don't even you see people on the street, you don't know what their fucking names in,
Right.
and you say, "Excuse me, sir," and be like the guy at the grocery store.
yo, I've never.
Excuse me, I'm a ma'am. I'm a ma'am. Have you
It's
seen that
ma'am.
thing?
It's
ma'am.
Yeah, I remember. It was
Say
a
that
kid's
again.
style.
Say that again.
The
It's
kid's
ma'am.
style. Yo, my thing is like it's the perfect time to be a hood nigga right now because like yo, I could just be like yo fam. Now tell
Yeah.
me what gender fam is.
Actually, I think it's on the list. We're gonna get into that.
goddamn.
I swear it's on the list.
I
No,
would,
I'm kidding.
I would love to get
I'm
into
joking,
that
I'm
list,
joking.
but I was gonna say I would love to get into that list, but like I've eclipsed my time here.
We're gonna do another 30
I do
minutes.
wanna- yeah, I was
We're
just
gonna-
gonna
I
say
know
like
we're gonna- yeah.
in my head I was like, there's no way,
We'll
there's
go
no
back.
way, because in my head I'm like I got so much more I want to say too, but
Yeah.
Well,
That
if he
is
wasn't
one.
late, then we'd be good.
And
I
you-
know. I'm
mean,
sorry.
yo,
That
you pulled
45
up-
minutes you robbed us.
You pulled up 45 minutes before he
I
got
know.
here.
I pulled up right
I
at
know.
7:29. That's what I did.
Yeah,
I
yo,
know.
yeah.
I know. Some of this shit's gonna be on
This
the
is
video.
fun though. Hey, we'll do it again, right?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna do it again.
Definitely. Guys, listen, I would love to sit here and hang out with you guys a little bit longer. Maybe. All I'm gonna say is I know that you're gonna drop a bunch of information. I look forward to catching up on it.
All right.
Word, man.
All right.
Thanks for coming in, my man.
No problem,
Really
no
appreciate it. This is applause for you.
So, San Francisco,
Mm-hmm.
the mayor of San Francisco just released, I think on Wednesday, I believe, the GIFT program, which is guaranteed income for transgender people.
Guaranteed income.
Guaranteed income for transgender people. Now, there is some, eligibility requirements, and it's also only for 18 months.
But based upon what?
So the eligibility requirements is you got to be 18 or older. You got to identify as transgender, non-binary, gender non-conforming, or intersex. You got to live in the city and county of San Francisco, obviously. You have to earn less than $600 a month. And you got to complete and submit an application, blah, blah, blah. And then you got to also be willing to complete a survey every 3 months after. But basically, you're going to get $1,200 a month. If you make less than 600, you're transgender, you apply for 55 people, which I don't even.
What the
55
fuck?
people. It's kind of an arbitrary number, but apparently, trans people in San Francisco are economically marginalized to where they can't find jobs or good paying jobs, where they only make $600 a month.
So they're gonna turn this
I'm
into
not really sure
disability or
because I
something
think
like that?
the whole, everybody's all conforming to
Right.
So they're actually hiring more people like this, to more transgender people, to kind of fill their equality gaps type thing. You know what I mean?
So they're
So
turning
I-
this thing into like what? Some kind of disability or something like that?
It's
Doesn't make any
well,
sense.
it's not disability, but it is guaranteed
the way you-
income.
The way you put it is like you're gonna get free money for what? Because of
for being transgender and for making
was it-
less than $600 a month. So like
that's messed up,
it's a slap in the face to really everybody, especially people like you, who
right?
came to this country who didn't even know how to speak English,
No,
learned English.
I'm still struggling, but I'm doing
Yeah,
better.
you're doing better.
Yeah, I'm
But
doing
yeah.
better.
But you know what I mean? Like my hat goes off to you because you came here, learned
Right.
how to speak English on your own, or
Yeah.
whatever, and then you put in the time and the effort to where you have a million different things going on.
Oh hell yeah,
You know what I mean? Electrician, this, that, other thing. You know what I mean? You got
Right.
a lot of things going on,
right.
and because you put in the time and the effort.
Well, this is the country of the opportunities. I
Right.
mean, if you don't make it here, I mean, it bothers me when I listen to people bitching and complaining. This is the country that you come here with nothing. You can make something out of you. I mean, I'm not kissing the Americans' ass, which I should anyways, because thank God everything that I have is because of being in this country. But when you hear people bitching and complaining how hard their life is, it's like, motherfucker, I didn't even speak English when I came here.
Right, exactly. That's why
You know
I
what I'm
brought
saying?
that up because
it's like it's
because
quit the
perfect
bitching.
example of if you put in the effort, you're gonna see the results.
that's right.
Right? You put in the effort. Anyways, but to go back to my point, this is a whole
Mhm.
gift program, whatever. But the whole point was John Oliver was upset that Mike Bloomberg said it.
I used to like John Oliver a lot.
He used the pronoun it, and John Oliver was like, "Whoa, you could fuck way off, right?"
Right.
Well, and again, I said John Oliver was virtue signaling, doesn't know really what he's talking about. He's
Yeah.
only doing it for social credit
Right.
because this program that's specifically designed for guaranteed income of transgender people, and you have to identify as transgender, non-binary, gender non-conforming, or intersex to get this program. And we all know San Francisco as far
Oh my God.
progressive, I guess we'd say, as they come.
That freaking
Okay.
that terminology, the progressive, it's being so
It's-
freaking
it's-
used in our views.
It's used loosely.
Yeah.
But I would say on the application, you have to check off boxes. And it's funny because these boxes, it doesn't say check the one that applies.
Right.
It says check all that applies. Okay.
Oh my God.
And I don't know if maybe I'll just run through these real quick, but
Yeah.
I want to
throw a
emphasize
few.
on so trans status, right? So you're transgender, non-binary, gender non-conforming, intersex, and then they also have none of the above, which doesn't make sense because on the eligibility requirements, you had to be one of those four So I don't know why they would even have a none of the above.
So if you're none of the
Like,
above,
anyway,
then
right.
what that I'm gonna make
I guess,
you?
I guess like you're not getting any free
Oh
money.
my
I don't know.
God.
But anyways, so the pronouns though, right? Again, check all that apply.
Of course.
So just John Oliver, mad that Mike Bloomberg says it. It goes she, her, hers, him or he, him, his, they, them, theirs, and then the next one is it, its, and its.
What?
So there's two like it's, and then it's like there's two it's, and I don't know how you use
my
one
God.
it's versus
Oh,
the other it's.
Oh my God.
And you might get in. That's the problem with the
Jesus.
misgendering people, and then having it being like a criminal charge, or,
Right.
or attack of violence or whatever, right? What if you use it's and it's wrong? What if you said it's instead
Right.
of it's,
That's
and then you misgendered them because you said it's one time and instead of it's this way or something? I don't know.
when this whole thing happened.
I have no idea.
It's like how do we get to this point so fast? Because right now we're in a point of now return. We can't go back to back when it was just gay people. You know what I'm saying? Because don't excuse me. Fuck that. I mean, 70s and 80s and 90s, it was just gay people. It was none of that. And, you got a few clubs that were like trans and whatever, but not even trans. They were like, what do you call it?
Drag queen,
Drag queens. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it was just that.
which is completely different.
Exactly. But when the hell this whole thing because it's not just here. Like back in the Dominican Republic, this thing is already in there. This whole transgender stuff is already there. All these sex books, that book that you mentioned, I talk about that book here.
Yep.
And I just
Buy it.
no, I didn't buy it. So, but I did saw the news and back home that there's already that book in some of the private schools back in the Dominican Republic.
Private schools.
And in private schools, they don't have it in the public schools because you gotta say it. Dominican Republic is a country that is very, very conservative. Even though there's a lot of crime and prostitution, whatever, but it's very conservative on Christianity and all that stuff.
Yep.
They're not going to allow this kind of stuff in the public school. So private school, which is surprising to me, are the ones actually teaching all
Yeah,
this
'cause I
stuff.
thought usually private school. Well, in America, private
Exactly.
schools are typically
The
more
la-
conservative than
Right.
the public schools. But
Right.
yeah, different.
But private schools now back home are the ones in their library just keeping these freaking books. So I don't know how far this thing is going to go for real. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what to think anymore.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I hate to speculate, but I would think that there may be more kind of going on than what you think's going on. Like he said, he was saying that what's his name? My bad.
Terry.
Terry was saying about how he saw movies when
Yeah.
he was a kid about boys wearing dresses and Joanna
Right.
Man and stuff like that. And if you look at maybe it'll be a topic for another show, but
Yeah.
kind of like forecasting the future through the media.
Pretty
Kind of
much. Yeah.
socially conditioning people to get ready for certain
You're
things.
right.
You know what I mean?
You're
They
right.
see these things, and then when it finally comes out, they're like, "Oh well," it almost seems more acceptable because they've already seen it.
You're right.
It's I don't know. I hate to speculate, but I'm just saying it seems like a lot of times you see stuff come out 10 years before, and then 10 years later it's actually happening.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
It makes total fucking sense.
So I don't know.
Because we've been watching these things forever and we never care because it didn't affect most of us. We didn't care about it. We see it as a comedy, as something funny.
Like Mrs. Doubtfire, that was funny.
Right.
But it also, made sense because he was trying to see his kids and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Right. But it still was introducing the
Somehow, yeah,
You know
to
what
the
I mean? It was
idea that
introducing
this
the
is
idea of it's okay for men to dress like women in certain circumstances, right? And then the next video or the next one that came out was
You're right.
Joanna Man or whatever.
Joanna Man, yeah, that's right.
And again, it was because of a circumstantial issue that they had to dress up like women
Right.
for whatever reason, right? And so at first it's social conditioning. Well,
Right.
it's okay if it's for a certain reason.
Right.
And then down the line, it's, well, there is no reason. They just actually think they're women or whatever,
Oh my God! I was gonna ask Terry a question about the basketball player, but it was gonna be a racial question. I'm gonna wait for him to come back here, but I was surprised that a black guy will actually fall for that. Will go with that because if you see the majority of what's going on is obviously Caucasians, it's white people who are doing these things. Most of the kids, or most of the most of the people that are doing this are like white people. That's the way I look at it. I don't know if I should put this thing on the video now, but what do you think about that? Am I right? Am I wrong? What's going on? Because I don't see Latinos going that road. I don't see, and when you hear a black guy so famous like him, like try to get his dick cut off, it's like doesn't make any sense to me.
I think what I would say to that is
You tell me if I leave this in the video now. What do you think?
No. I think we're good. We're good.
Okay, all right.
You caught me off guard a little bit there, but I think I never thought of it. But as you were saying it, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a lot of white people doing
The
this.
majority of it.
But what I would say is that a lot of white people, but also a lot of celebrities. And that
Yes.
includes professional athletes.
Yes.
Football, baseball, basketball, whatever. A lot of them their kids are coming out as trans.
Right.
Almost like they're getting extra social credit points for their kids.
Oh
being
my God, you're
trans
so
or something.
open.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's, and I hate to say that because I don't know if that's true or not. And not every case is the same.
No, obviously
There's
not.
always exceptions to the rule. But when something starts happening on a mass scale at a certain level,
Right.
you have to make assumptions. You know,
Yeah. I think you're right on that.
right? Like, I mean, it's not
You're
racist.
right.
It's not
No.
bigotry. It's not anything like that to make assumptions based on things that are happening on a massive scale.
Exactly.
And if more celebrity kids are coming out as trans than the nuclear family, 8 to 5 family kids are coming out as trans, then you'd have to think, well, why is that?
The
You got to think, why is that?
it just blows my mind that why would you, as a celebrity, you're already famous, people already know you,
Because
why would you come up with that and say, oh, my son that is 7, 11 or 12 or whatever is trans, when it's a kid that doesn't even know how to shower right?
let me ask
It
you,
doesn't make any sense to me.
who's the basketball player who's the father there?
I forgot the name of the fucking guy.
Well, here's my question. Either way, here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
How's he doing in his basketball career?
I think he retired already.
That's my question. Is how's he doing? Did he retire?
I believe he retired.
If he retired, and again, this is all just me,
It's Dwayne Wayne, I think it was.
throwing things out here, but either, sometimes you see people that are doing poorly
Yeah.
in what they're supposed to be doing good at, or you see people that retire that nobody's talking about anymore, and then all of a sudden something like this comes out and everybody's talking about them again.
But what would they
I don't
get?
know. I just
What can they get by
People are-
exposing their family, like
or
exposing their
adding
kids?
them and stuff. I don't know. I'm just
That's
saying.
kind of messed up.
That is, but yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you think about it. Me as a father, it's like, okay, well, I'm promoting this podcast, right? I'm promoting this one and the other one, and the one in Spanish. And now, I want people to consume my
Give me one of
product.
those hats too, by the way.
Yeah, I will. I swear to God, I will. So I want to promote this podcast and the one in Spanish. Great. So would it work if I said my son is trans? It's like I don't see myself doing that. Like exposing my family. Even if one of my kids was, I don't see why would I just put that out there for people to know that. It's supposed to be your
Yes.
your family. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it to yourself. I don't understand that part.
You hit the nail right on the head right there. Because if your kid was trans, would you be out broadcasting it to the world? Or would you just be supporting your kid at home privately? You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't need to broadcast to the world.
Exactly.
So why broadcast to the world?
That's that
There's
thing that I don't
only
get.
one reason why you would broadcast anything to the world. Anything that you ever want to broadcast to the world. Whether it's this podcast right now,
Right.
whether it's Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior,
I see where you're going.
doesn't matter. You'd broadcast anything to the world for one reason and one reason only.
People can see it.
Because you
Consume it.
want the world to know
Yeah.
what
You're right.
you're broadcasting.
You're right.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, you want people to see you. You want people to know about you. Yeah, you're right.
That's the only reason.
But you got to measure the consequences, though. I mean, think about it. You're exposing your kid.
That's the part.
I mean, you're exposing your kid. Let's say your kid come out to you and be like, yeah, I'm gay. I want to cut my dick off. And then you go out there and you put it out there. So people to know what your son tells you. It's not that your son mentioned it on social media himself. He came to you and tell you about it. It's like, it's beyond my understanding why any parent who gives a shit about their kids, they're just going to do this. I don't know. It's beyond to me. I don't know why they do it. Whatever. I mean, more power to them, I guess. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's I think it's again the whole, ego, narcissistic, where it doesn't matter about your kid.
Yeah, it doesn't matter about me.
As long as you're getting the clout, as long as you're getting the social credit, then you know what I mean. And I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Yeah, it's all speculation. We're not saying that's the case.
But like you said, but why else would you parade your kid around? And if you take a 4-year-old or 5-year-old or whatever, right? You see these little kids on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
And parents are like, "Oh, hey, didn't you say you thought you were a girl at one point?" And they're kind of leading them through the conversation.
Right. Yeah.
You can clearly, anybody with a critical mind can see they're leading them through, because the kids are like all shy, like looking down.
Exactly.
They don't really know, and they're like, "Well, didn't you say you were a girl the other day?" Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah.
Well, didn't you say you liked wearing dresses? Yeah, it's like, well, you're leading through this whole thing,
You're
trying to
pushing
make a
them
point
into it,
on fucking social media, and for what? To get a couple likes? It's, you know what I mean? It's
I think that's exactly what it is.
crazy.
I think that's what most people do it. They expose themselves, they expose their families to the craziness out there, because there's no mercy. There's no mercy in social media. People don't give a shit about your feelings. I mean, you posted a video eating a pizza, and there's gonna be 20,000 bad things to say about that.
Yeah.
Look at you, how you eat the pizza. You don't start from there. You're gonna start from the crotch. It's it's 20 different fucking things that people are gonna say about that pizza. It's fucked
absolutely.
up. There's no mercy. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. We're definitely gonna keep talking about this. There's a conversation that I want to have with you. About what happened here in New Hampshire with the
oh yes, we didn't get to that.
Yeah, we didn't even get to that. There was a lot to talk about that. I was actually having it on my phone right here, but
there's a lot.
we're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna keep doing this for a while, and then I welcome you to come here every Sunday. I promise you, I'll be here early. I'm really sorry about this. It was not my intention. We're trying to go on radio. That's right. I was talking to somebody at the radio station in Lawrence today, and then we're looking at to project this whole thing on the radio. Maybe you want to be part of this. I don't know. It's up to you. Hopefully, we can start making some money so we can pay you.
You'll have to, fill me in on the details on that. But
yeah,
I would say you just end with. I think if we're gonna have this conversation again, we should just end with, people should probably educate themselves on the plethora of pronouns and gender identities.
You use a word that my English is not allowing me to understand. Plethora?
Plethora.
What is that?
An abundance of.
An abundance.
An abundance of. So too many. There's too many genders.
Understand something. My English is limited.
You're doing good.
Don't abuse it, okay?
Hey,
all right.
I'm going to get good at Spanish so I can come on here and do a Spanish.
There you go. We should do that.
Yo no soy periodista, pero que sabe.
This has been good. Really, really appreciate it. Everybody out there, please click likes, share it, and follow us in Savage Podcast. We are everywhere, and we're here to stay. Thank you very much.